If the version of you from 3 years ago saw you today,
Listen, bro, I'm gonna be 6 months. You better have your life up. You better be bulking. You better have a girl out, bro.
would they be proud, disappointed, or ashamed? And I'm not saying that to shame you. I'm saying that so you could wake up in this moment right now. Think about the dreams you had for yourself 3 years ago. Did you actually fulfill them? What type of person did you want to be by now? What type of standards did you have for yourself that have been broken? And I want to say, you didn't quit on these things, but you got distracted and you became lazy. But it's not too late. You can change yourself right after this video if you just realize what consistency is and what it really takes on keeping your own word. But starting on those dreams, what dreams did you actually have for yourself? For me, I'll start. When I was 15 years old, 3 years ago, I was at the lowest point that I ever was in my whole entire life. I had no friends. I had no purpose. I had a pornography addiction, so I was addicted to something like a drug. There was no hope for me, honestly. I think the only goals I had for myself were getting rich, maybe getting a better job, being a little more confident, being more attractive. But I didn't even go to the gym yet. So looking back at my past self, I was broken. But there were a few dreams I had, and one dream was to become successful. I wanted to be better than every other person in the room, internally. People may not know me from the outside because I was nothing, but I wanted to make sure my mindset was always there. I remember a few months after I even thought of that dream, I started getting into the gym. Then I said to myself, my dream is actually to be successful, where I could build something from 0 to 100. And the first time I did that was with my physique. I started working out and I saw growth from it, starting from nothing. And being a broken kid at the time, you really have a lot of mental problems that go along with that, such as overthinking, such as just thinking you're not good enough. You're just so hard on yourself. And I really don't think that's a great way to build yourself up. I think it's better to be giving yourself a friendly self-talk. Where you're not bashing yourself down, but you're saying, I feel like I could have did better there. But think about where I've came. Think about where I've came from. So my whole point of this video is to see, you may have not achieved those goals that your past self had. And he's probably really disappointed in you. But so your future self can thank you, you will start now. So there are 4 things that I want to tell you on what you can do right now to prevent you from destroying your life, and so you can give your future an easier step. But number 1, you need to change your environment. The people you're around, the things that you do, the things you endure in, you need to change those things. There's a lot of people that say you are what you eat. You're a product of your own environment. And I gotta be honest with you, you are. When you're in the product section in the supermarket, you see bakery. If you're a baking good, you're a baking good. But you're not a chicken, you're not a beef, you're not in the produce section, you're a part of the bakery. So right away, change your environment. Change who you spend your time around. If you're around a bunch of people who do drugs, you're around a bunch of people who are degenerates, you're gonna act like one. So I got a prime example of this. I was with some terrible friends 4 or so years ago, where these kids were just trying to be wannabe popular kids, and I went and tagged along with them. But instead of me being just like them, I was a third wheel. So I was a very ignorant, I was a very prideful dude, where I was honestly nothing. And then look, those kids dumped me. So at the end of the day, when you try to be around these cool kids in your school, they're not really all what they seem. 90% of the time, they're going through something internally as well, such as a conflict in their life, and they aren't better than you. It's just they may seem cooler on the outside. Just because someone has a lot of muscle, just because someone looks jacked, doesn't mean they're healthy on the inside. They could be taking some steroids. They could be doing a bunch of drugs, but they might look healthy, doesn't mean they are. So don't look at that like that's a indicator of like, these kids are cool, they know exactly what they're doing. 90% of the time, the humble person is the hardest person working in the room. So change your environment. Be around people you want to be like. I started being around more church pastors. I started being around more younger men who have built businesses, who are making 6 figures a year, and I'm starting to act like them. Number 2, say no to easy comfort. Don't even look at comfort like it's a good thing, because comfort and rest are 2 different things. Comfort is you making sure you feel good in every single moment. Rest is well-deserved after you worked hard. You deserve rest, but only if you did the hard things first. Easy comfort can look like anything from pornography, scrolling, bad food, bad diet, watching excessive TV, you name it. Think about it. So many things in your life that you could possibly change, but you want to feel good, so you go to them. And these aren't bad things. You just need to change your mindset. What do these things waste? Time. And what do we not have a limit of? Time. If you want to really max out your life right now, at whatever you are, 13 to 18 years old, you need to find that barrier of using your time correctly. I bet all those teachers in school say, have good time management, and they're right. Because before you know it, you may not have a lot of time left. And you may be 25 years old someday, you get out of college, and you say, I want to start doing something with my life now. But you wasted it all because you were scrolling, playing video games, going to parties. And you're 35 saying, I wish I started 10 years ago. That 10-year jump, just because you keep saying to yourself, I'll start tomorrow, but you got to start now. But yeah, these things are very hard to apply in one day, but if you live like this, as it is a new year this year, you will start conquering your life from 0 to 100. Now, number 3, stop looking at motivation to change. I get that motivational hit, now it's time to go change. I'm going to be honest with you, if you really want it, motivation's not always going to be there. There's been days, like right now, I don't want to make this YouTube video, honestly. I procrastinated almost for an hour before coming down into this basement and saying, record. Why? Because motivation is not always going to be there. You have something called disciplines, right? You go to the gym someday, you feel great, the next day you're like, I don't really want to go. But that's disciplines. Motivation is not always going to be there. I'll tell you one thing, my faith has definitely helped me a lot with this, where there's times where I don't want to read my Bible. There's times where I don't want to go to church. There's times where I don't want to do things, but that's because the God I believe in is a God of disciplines. He says, don't do it on how you truly feel, your emotions. Do it for what you truly want. So you may not want to do it in that moment, but think about the possible reward, the possible outcome if you endure. Think how great it's going to feel after when you're done, because now you said, I actually did the work. I don't got to do it anymore. All that procrastination, all that laziness was actually the harder thing than doing it in the first place, because you can go on for 2 hours saying, I don't want to do this, but guess what? The video may take 10 minutes, the workout may take 20 minutes. Now, I don't know who's doing a 20-minute gym workout, unless you're doing like the 8-minute ab workouts, but I'm just saying, your excuses drain your time. So I really hope that makes sense. Number 4, keep small promises to yourself. This is the most important one. Brother, I'm gonna tell you right now, right after this video, probably tomorrow, you're not gonna be any better. But there's one thing you can do to yourself, and it's called keeping small promises. Where you say, I'm not gonna cross these things. I'm gonna do these things every single day. So eventually, maybe in a few months from now, I'll be restored. I'll have a bit more progress in my life. And that's fine. You have to look at these things this way. I follow this logic. 1% better every single day. And I bet you guys have heard that everywhere. That's like the Bruce Lee philosophy. Let's be honest. You watch a Bruce Lee edit, you're gonna see 1% better every day. And he's right. Because what is there so much you can do in one day that's gonna change your life? See, goals, we all have big goals, right? Like, I want to have a 6-pack by next year. I want to have $1 million by 18, right? But how do you do that in one day? By sticking to the small promises you keep to yourself. Things you can control. It's the same thing where you want to get jacked in the gym, right? I want to get all this muscle. I want to have a giant 6-pack by 18. When you're like 16. All right, you go for the first week, you feel all motivated, right? The next week, you're like, I don't feel like doing it no more. But those small promises, where you going every single day, or it could even be your diet. You have to stick to a heavy diet so you become to get that physique. You know what I will say? The small things are simple. The way to get there is easy. But 99% of people overcomplicate it. Because if you stick to those small promises, it leads to consistency. So if there's 4 things I could have just told you right there, it's 1, changing your environment. 2, saying no to easy comfort. 3, stop following motivation and follow that drive of changing your life and realizing what's on the line if I don't do these things. 4, keeping those small promises that you won't break every single day. And if you do break those things, at least you realize, instead of saying, oh, I didn't fulfill that goal today, but you realize, like, that small thing I didn't do today, I better do it tomorrow. Instead of condemning yourself and putting yourself down like, oh man, I suck, I'm never gonna be like these other people, all these kids are ahead of me, and you start comparing yourself to other people, that's the wrong way. You convict yourself nicely, where you say, I could have did better. Let me start tomorrow, let me get a nice sleep now, start in the moment, so you can do better for your whole entire life. If you keep waiting, you're wasting your potential. And the last thing I want you to do is waste your potential when you could have been something. Let's say you go to heaven someday, right? And you may not all believe in God, but let's say God is true. God starts reading off a list to you saying, Tyler, motivational speaker, father, 150 pounds jacked. And then I'm over here 300 pounds and I'm saying to him, that's not me. And God's like, that's who you were supposed to be. But you didn't follow discipline. You follow your laziness and your selfish desires that led you down a dark path of life. And I really hope that made sense, but think about it, who you are right now, and then hearing who you could have been. For example, doctor, and then you're like, I'm a plumber. Well, plumbers are really good, I'm gonna be straight up with you, but I'm a janitor when I'm supposed to be a heart surgeon, the #1 heart surgeon in the nation. That's not me. That's who you were supposed to be, but you were too lazy, slacking off. You don't want to hear that, right? Good. That's what I want you to realize in this moment. So anyways, for the last 3 years, I gotta say I did keep a lot of the goals I had. I did accomplish them. I made a lot of progress. If my 15-year-old self saw me right now, he would probably be like, what the heck? This is who I wanted to be. But there's also him who would say, you didn't start doing these things. Like for example, I haven't really looked into the financial side of my life yet. I've been slowly doing it, but I haven't been doing it like crazy. Kind of been focusing on you guys, but yeah. Or there'll be some times where, I fall short, where, maybe I'll go back to pornography, and then he's gonna be like, why are you still dealing with this after 3 years? I'm kind of tired of this. Like, this destroyed my life, and you're over here still doing it? And all I can say is, I'm sorry, but in this moment, let me do better. So me, and 3 years from now, can say, thank you, Tyler, for actually doing these things. But yeah, if you follow those 4 things, you will see right now that over time, give yourself, I would say, 3 months of doing these things. Saying no to easy comfort. Get rid of the phone. Stop scrolling. Try your best. Use YouTube, honestly, just to educate yourself. Don't use it to please yourself. I gotta say too, you're not gonna accomplish this without accountability in an organization. Start journaling to yourself. Start realizing what you truly want. This isn't an easy process, but this will easily be made if you truly desire your future and what you want. Do the hard work now so your future self can thank you. Instead of regretting things like everyone says, oh, I wish I could have did that 10 years ago. Become the version of yourself that your past self dreams of. Where you could say, I did that thing. That's it. I'm repeating myself, but I want you to get into your head that this is all you need. But yeah, thanks for watching, man. If you really could just give me a like, subscribe, and just share this video to someone who actually needs it, that would really be great. But anyways, have a great day, my friend, and that's it.